Yeah. Hey, this is Derek Stone.
And this is Conrad Garinger.
And you're watching a video of the Working Triathlete. We're going to go through the best warm-up routine for a run.
You can do this routine before workouts, i.e. running workouts, and also before races. So a good warm-up is essential because it dilates the blood vessels so that oxygen can get to the working muscles. And it also activates the motor units. So it sort of primes the nervous system so that you can ignite your muscles in the correct pattern. It is essential to warm up well because it will enhance performance and prevent you from pulling something.
Never skip a warm-up. Let's get started. Step one, you want to get some easy activity in. 15 to 20 minutes of easy running or jogging before you get into the drills. All right, step two, after a 15 to 20 minute warm up, you want to do some dynamic stretching, which is different than static stretching because it's active. So you want to hold this stretch for a short period of time, less than a second, which is feasible. So you want to target your legs, so your hip flexors, your hamstrings, your quads, your glutes, and then you're onto drills.
A good dynamic stretch to start with is the dynamic quad stretch. As you can see here, Derek is walking and he's grabbing the top of his foot with his hand and he's pulling his leg back in order to briefly stretch the quad. When you do dynamic stretching, you want to do 10 to 20 reps of each exercise, and the goal is to stretch the muscle briefly, for a brief moment, and then you relax it. And you're going through a similar range of motion that you will when you're running. That's one of the advantages of dynamic stretching over static stretching. You're really using the full range of motion for the joint and just stretching briefly and then continuing. Another dynamic stretch is the hamstring stretch. And here Derek is walking and he is lifting his leg forward straight in order to stretch the hamstring. He is holding out his hand and he's kicking towards his hand. You don't necessarily need to kick your hand, but the idea is to walk and lift your leg straight out in front to stretch that hamstring. Next dynamic stretch is knee to chest. This stretch, it focuses on the glutes. And as you can see, Derek is walking and then he grabs his shin or knee with his hands and pulls his knee up to his chest. So this does a great job opening up those hips and really stretching and activating those glutes, which are extremely important when you're running. Again, when you're doing dynamic stretching, you want to do 10 to 20 reps on each side. Next dynamic stretch, leg sweeps. So this is similar to karaoke if you're familiar with that drill, but essentially you lift your knee, and similar in the knee to chest, you sort of activate the glute when you lift it, and then you sweep to the side and place your foot down on the ground. This does a good job sort of opening up the hips, stretching the groin, and it puts your leg, groin, and hip area through a good range of motion to open it all up so that your legs can swing freely when you're running. Next dynamic stretch is leg swings, and there are two types of leg swings, side to side and front and back. Here, Derek is starting with the side to side leg swings. To do these, you want to grab something stable like a fence, which Derek is doing here, or a post of some sort. And as you can see, he is swinging his legs side to side. He's really opening up his hip joints when he's doing this, stretching the quad slightly, going through the full range of motion. And this does a great job opening up those hips so that when you're running, your hips are swinging freely. Here, Derek is doing front and back leg swings. As you can see, he's holding the fence, remaining stable, standing upright, and he is swinging his leg back and forth while keeping it straight. The next stretch is the dynamic calf stretch. And the goal here is to dorsiflex your ankle so that you can achieve a good stretch in the calf. Here, Derek is lifting his toes against the bottom of the fence. You could do this against a wall or a lamppost or similar structure. And the idea here is to lean forward so that you feel a stretch in the calf. Hold that stretch for a brief moment and then relax. As with all the other dynamic stretches, 10 to 20 reps on each side is appropriate. After you complete your dynamic stretching routine, move on to running drills. You can start with high knees. Here, as you can see, Derek is doing a running motion, but he is lifting his knees high. So when he's doing this, he's essentially exaggerating the knee lift that he's going to have when he's running. You want to run with a high cadence and really lift those knees, really pump those arms, and sort of explode off of the ground. The next run drill, butt kicks. Here you can see Derek is making a running motion. However, he is exaggerating the heel lift at the back end. When you do these, you want to do them with a high cadence, and you really want to lift that heel. And you want your heel to sort of approach your glute. And you do want to lift your knees when you're doing this. You don't just want to kind of throw back. And again, you want to pump your arms and essentially exaggerate the kickback of a run. Next drill, skips. This is a drill where you really want to focus on exploding off of the ground. So again, you're essentially making the running motion, you're exaggerating the push-off, and really focus on exploding. You really want to ignite that nervous system and push off hard. So this is a great plyometric. It enhances explosivity, and it gets you primed for the upcoming race or workout. Next drill are B-skips. The B-skips are essentially a high knee, and then when you come down, you want to come down with a straight leg. So you essentially are making the running motion, you're exaggerating the knee lift, you're straightening out the leg, and then you're pieing back when you're coming down. Next drill is karaoke. So karaoke, you are moving sideways and you are alternating the way your feet are landing. So as you can see, Derek is moving sideways here, and he is really lifting his knee when the trailing leg moves forward. So you really want to lift your leg high and really explode up and then down when you're placing your leg back on the ground. Next drill, quick step. Quick step is essentially easy running, but then you do an exaggerated high knee and explode back down. So you really activate each individual leg when you're doing this. You wake up the muscles in the nervous system, and this is a great way to identify leg strength imbalances or coordination imbalances. So it really does a great job sort of igniting each individual leg to get you ready for putting out a high effort. The last component of a good warm-up routine are strides. Strides are brief pickups wherein you begin by running slowly and then gradually accelerate to just below sprint effort. Each stride should last approximately 10 to 20 seconds. Doing 3 or 4 of them is sufficient. And you really want to focus on form when you're doing strides. So you want your arms to pump back and forth. You really want to lift those knees, land on your forefoot, and accelerate again to just below sprint. 10 to 20 seconds for each stride is appropriate. And this does a great job waking up the body and preparing it for the upcoming workout or race.